Cloud. All right. Welcome, everybody. Today is October 19, 2017, and I'm here with my good friends, RJ and Brad and Jaylee and Manuel and a few other people, whoever comes on board. We are doing another coaching call, and on today's episode, we're going to be covering mock seller calls. So as I tell most of my students, you guys feel free to go ahead and show me your pretty and handsome faces and open up that video so I can see who I'm talking to. So I'm not talking to Mr. and Miss X. But one caveat and hurdle that I've seen over the years dealing with many students, you guys, is people are nervous and apprehensive about dealing with sellers on the phone, okay? And so you definitely want to get a ton of practice going on when you're talking with your sellers, because at the end of the day, if you can feel comfortable talking with sellers, you guys, the sky is going to be the limit to what you can do and accomplish, okay? If you feel comfortable talking and speaking with sellers, you guys, then there's virtually nothing that can stop you from absolutely crushing it. So RJ is a seasoned investor, so I would like to get his feedback on that before we get started.
No, I totally agree. You got to be comfortable talking to sellers. It's interesting the objections that you're going to get. One we keep getting a lot is, well, you sent me the postcard. What do you want to offer me? Like, well, you got to tell me a little bit about your house. Well, don't you already know about it? You know, they assume they're the only one that got a postcard, and they're one of thousands. So we seem to get that one a lot right now. But outside of that, you know, it's about finding what's their pain. Why did they call? They called for a reason. And, you know, we get a lot of them that call because they kick the tires. They're curious, you know, what is this postcard I got, et cetera. So we got to dig a little deeper and figure out kind of what's their pain. Why do they want to sell? And, of course, they all think their house is worth full retail. So we got to bring them back down to the stratosphere a little bit, that's not necessarily the case. So I'm curious to hear how you handle some of those, and maybe I'll be able to perfect my expertise in that area as well.
Definitely. Well, and I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there, RJ, when you basically stated that you have to discover what their pain is. And you guys, whenever you're doing sales of any sorts, whether you're selling an appointment, whether you're asking somebody to sell their house, whether you're selling a widget, a bidget, or whatever you want to call it, you can either go from a place of what is my customer or my client's pain, or what is my customer or client's pleasure, okay? Like, and what do you think is the strongest selling point to a client?
Well,
you think you have to address their pain or their pleasure?
That's a tough one, man. I think I always operate out of the modus of operandi that people are motivated by fear of loss. So maybe it is the pain.
Okay.
That is always, you know, give it to them and then take it away.
There you go. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I would say pain, but I might be wrong.
All right. Well, hey, you might be right, or you may be wrong. We'll see in a second. So RJ said pain. Brad, are you still with us? Bradley Foster down in Florida. Okay, guess not. Manny, can I call you Manny?
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like we're boys, so I can call you Manny. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think a person is more moved if you hit their pain points or their pleasure points? And I'm not talking about if you're in bed.
Yeah, we're talking about their house. I would say it depends on the time frame that they have, the deadline to sell their house. You know, they might want to take a gamble and try to get the most out of it, and some of them, like they needed to sell yesterday. You know, when they get that 90-day foreclosure notice or whatever it is. So I think it really just depends on their situation. But I think everyone would try to get top dollar, you know.
I would amend what I was going to say, Daniel, too, that,
What? You
well,
can't amend.
I'm not going to, here's the thinking is that if you develop a relationship and a rapport with a seller, then, we've had a lot of success by just doing that. We've won some deals that other investors in our market that we compete with, guys have told us, listen, I'm going to sell my house. You guys are all in the ballpark. You're a couple thousand less, but we like you, so we're going to go with you, type of a deal. So, it's because we basically built that rapport. But then, kind of like Manuel says, we've had ones that have called and have been like, hey, I got a notice and I need to sell this house. And, so you just drill in on that specific point. So it's kind of seller specific, I guess. Now that's the amendment I would make, is it's a little bit seller specific. You don't want to come in as the big heavy on every seller that you talk to, because maybe they don't really care to sell, but they would.
True. And so I'll say this, you guys, when we're dealing with a big ticket item, okay. So not small ticket. So small ticket item is like some, a bag of M&Ms. If I'm at the grocery store and I see a bag of M&Ms, I'm like, ooh, I got to have myself some M&Ms. Woo! Right? Sugar fest, right? I'm going from a pleasure point. So I'm like, whatever, it's $1.25 or whatever it is, take my $1.25, shut up, eating them, right? And what's up, Daniel? How you doing? All right, give me a thumbs up. There you go. All right, and so, but when we're dealing with a higher ticket item, you guys, such as a house or anything that's, a bigger item, people are typically going to be moved on pain, okay? So basically what you need to do is you always, and write this down, you guys, okay? Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my trusty whiteboard up here. Okay, can everybody see my whiteboard?
Yep,
I can see it.
All right, you guys are awesome. Okay, so
okay,
in dealing with sellers, you guys, the number one thing is ask a ton of probing questions. Okay, everybody knows what a probing question is?
Yes.
Great. It's basically where you just like start probing around and you're digging around. You're trying to get some information. Okay. And so on our in the academy, you guys, on the call script, we have a bunch of questions that we ask people, and you ask them things like to the nature of okay, well, it seems like you have a great house, Jack. Why are you looking to sell it? Okay. So tell me a little bit more about the house. All right. How's the roof? How's the ceiling? Got it. Do you know what prices homes have been selling for in your area? Got it. So what type of cash offer are you looking for your property? What's the lowest cash offer you'll accept for your house? Okay. You just ask them tons of probing questions. Okay, you guys, because in negotiations, which is what you are doing. All right. And it's you versus them. All right. And I don't mean this in a negatory way. It's not like, we're douchebags and, we're, mean or whatever. But at the end of the day, coming from a psychological standpoint, you guys, it's you versus them. All right. It doesn't mean that you're not friends with them. It doesn't mean that you don't like them. All right. So like me and Manuel can be on opposing football teams. Right. And, if I'm a running back, Manuel, and if you're a defensive end, I'm going to run you over. All right. You're still my boy. I still like you. We can still shake hands after the game. But when we're in the game and it's game time, I'm trying to win. Okay. And that's what you're aiming to do when you're in discussions and negotiations with the seller. Okay. And so the person that is asking the most questions, that is going to be the person that is leading the conversation. Okay. So the person who asks the most questions is the one who is controlling the conversation. Okay. Now, if you allow the seller to start asking you questions and they're interrogating you, you've lost, baby. You know, if they're asking you a bunch of questions and they're like, okay, well, what company are you with? And how much will you give me for my house? And, you know, how fast will you close? And who are your funding partners? And this and that and this and that. You know, how'd you get my address? If you get them in the mode of that, you guys, then you've lost, okay? So always remember that, all right? So the reason why we ask questions, you guys, not just to gain control of the conversation, but to discover what RJ had said earlier in the call, what is their pain, okay? So you must always, I'm gonna write this in all caps so that y'all don't forget this. You must always discover what your seller's deepest pain points are, okay? And that's in any type of sales, no matter if it's real estate or any other business that you go in, you guys, you need to always discover what is their deepest pains, okay? And so when you dig deep enough and you listen, okay? And you must always listen more than you speak when on the call, okay? Because God bless you with 2 ears and 1 mouth. So therefore, you should probably listen at least double the amount of time that you're talking, okay? But you ask them these probing questions and you get people talking about themselves and they'll tell you what's up, okay? They'll tell you what the 411, what the information is, okay? They'll let you know that, hey, I'm looking to sell the house because I need to move from Wichita to Vegas, okay? Because I took a new job. Or I'm selling the house because we've had it in our family for the past 31 years and we can't afford the taxes. I'm selling the house because those damn kids in the neighborhood keep on breaking into there and having parties and doing meth in my house and spray painting all types of obscenities on the walls, okay? I'm selling the house because my boyfriend got sent to jail and I need to come up with $94,000 in bail money to get him out, okay? Happened to me before. I'm selling my house because I rented my house out to some tenants and I didn't have the proper paperwork in place and they started a marijuana grow house in my house and they stole power from the city and now I got hit with an $80,000 power bill, which I can't afford because my husband is suffering through cancer and he's going through chemotherapy and I need all the money that I can get, okay? This is stuff that Hollywood can't even write these type of stories. But you discover this through asking questions, okay? And you must always be in the mode of getting people to know you, like you, and trust you, okay? People should know you, like you, and trust you. So like if I'm on a conversation with somebody, you guys, I'm not even saying Mr. Smith or Mrs. Betty or whatever. I'm going to talk to you like you're my best friend and I've known you for years, okay? Because people naturally, well, let me ask you this question, okay? Let me ask you a probing question. Do you think that people will naturally trust somebody that's really uber professional over the phone and they're saying, Mr. News, can you tell me a little bit more about your property? Or do you think somebody's going to be more trusting of a guy that comes in and they're like, hey, so RJ, man, how's your kids doing? How's the family doing? How's the weather over there in your side of town? All right, great. So tell me a little bit about your house, RJ.
Yeah, I'd say the latter.
The latter, okay? Because if you're the former, people are going to most of the time put up their defenses, okay? And that's just natural, okay? But if I'm talking to RJ on a first name basis, or Manuel, or whoever, okay, or Robert, or whoever, you're gonna trust me, okay? So, is there any questions before we start doing some practice calls, you guys?
No, I agree with everything you said.
I love you. I love it when people say they agree with everything I said. If only my wife could get with you, RJ.
Have her call me.
I will have her call you. I will have her call you. All right. So I'm going to be the wholesaler, okay? And I want one of you guys to be the seller, okay? Who's going to be my seller? my homeowner.
I mean, I'll do it unless you got somebody else.
Man, RJ, you're too seasoned of a professional.
All right,
I
let's
don't
not
trust
do
you,
me.
man.
Don't do me.
You know what? What the heck? I will do you. All right, let's have you. We'll do you, RJ, and then on the next round, we're gonna have you, Manny, and then either Robert or the other Daniel. I think that's Daniel Diggity Dan, the Facebook group. But we'll have Manuel and somebody else do the next call. Okay. So you're going to be the seller, RJ, and your property is a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house.
Okay.
2,500 square feet. Give me a scenario on it. I'll let you pick the scenario, RJ.
Well, you sent me the postcard.
No, you gotta tell me about the house. You gotta tell me about your house. I don't know about your house yet.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's my objection to you is, hey, Daniel, you sent me the postcard that had your name on it. You said you wanted to buy my house.
You're still RJ the wholesaler. You're not RJ the homeowner yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
This guy. All right. So tell me, like, actually, you know what? Okay, yeah. We'll just keep it like that. Okay, so 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, 2,500 square feet. It's in Wichita, Kansas. So, all right, ring.
Hello.
Hey, RJ, how's it going? It's Daniel. I'm just giving you a call back about that house that you were looking to sell.
Okay.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about it. I listened to your voicemail, and I'm actually returning a bunch of calls. We got a bunch of people to get back to, but it sounded like you were trying to get your house sold pretty quick. What's the story?
Well, I inherited the house. So my dad passed away there.
Man, I'm sorry to hear about that.
It's a bum deal.
Yeah,
No,
it definitely is.
But that's the main reason, because I really don't have a purpose for it. I don't want to be the landlord.
I hear you. I hear you. Have you ever landlorded before, RJ?
No.
No? Man, I will tell you that it is terrible landlording. I mean, people will go in your house and tear it up and pay on the rent late. No good, no good.
I don't want any of that.
I hear you, man. I hear you, man. So tell me a little bit about the house. Like, what type of condition is it in, and what are you looking for? And give me the 411 on that, RJ.
Okay. Well, the house is in great shape. There's probably no repairs that need to be done. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, about 2,500 square feet. So, like I said, my parents live there. I mean, they've been there for probably about 20 years or so. So I wouldn't think that there's not a whole lot of mortgage left on the house. But other than that, I mean, I'd say it's pretty much a turnkey deal. So, we've got a few realtors that are coming to look at it and decide if we want to list it or not with them. But like I said, I got your postcard, so I thought I'd call and see what your offer would be.
Oh, definitely. I hear you, man. So tell me about the mortgage. Like, how much is left on the mortgage approximately?
I think about $30K.
About 30K. Okay. Got it. And what have the realtors been telling you that you've talked to?
Well, none of them made it out yet. So we're just starting to talk to them. So hopefully next week we start interviewing a few of them.
None of them made it out yet?
No. Like I said, this thing just went through probate. So I just got the house. Parents didn't have a will. So.
Oh, that's terrible. That's definitely terrible. And yeah, man, I definitely feel for you. I went through the same situation a few years ago, about 8 years ago. My mother, she passed away of cancer, and it was definitely a terrible time. But I guess the good thing, the silver lining behind every cloud, RJ, is when you have family and siblings behind you, you can get through any bad situation.
Yep, that's it's good to have a good support network.
Definitely.
We have that.
Definitely. So, okay. So, tell me about how much are you looking for the property?
Well, houses according to Zillow, houses in the neighborhood are selling for about 160 to 180,000. So, we'd like to be in that ballpark.
Okay. Got it. And tell me a little bit about I know that you said that there's no repairs needed on the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything that needs to be done.
Okay, got it. So let me ask you this, RJ. If you know, about when was the last time your parents got the house updated?
That's a good question. I'm going to say, man, I mean, they did some updating when they first moved in. And like I said before, that was probably 20 years ago. But since then, I'm not really aware of any major updates that they've done.
Ah, got it. So they did the updates, what, about the 90s, the early 90s?
Yeah.
Is that
Yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. And the houses that you saw on Zillow that were selling at the 160 mark, were they updated?
I don't know. I'm not sure of that.
Got it. All right, because
On the phone, Brand. Sorry.
oh, no problem. Is
Kids
that
are
your
yelling
kids?
at me. Yeah.
I tell you what, man. I mean, my kid, he'll jump in the phone call in a New York second, man. So you're not the only one, RJ.
Yeah.
Got it. So, all right, and basically, let me ask you a few questions about the house, RJ.
Okay.
So, what we try to do is we just try to come in whenever we find a property that we like and that the owner definitely needs to get rid of quickly. We
Mm-hmm.
come in and we make them a fast cash offer. We take the problem property off their hands so they don't have to deal with a bunch of drama. They don't have to deal with a bunch of issues. They don't have to deal with a bunch of BS,
Okay.
And I take
That
it, I
sounds
mean,
good.
yeah, and I've only been talking to you for about 8 minutes, and you seem like the type of fella, RJ, where you don't want to deal with a lot of BS. Am I right or am I right?
No, you're right.
All right.
Yeah.
And what do you do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in sales.
In sales. Okay. So look, you're out there selling, and what do you sell?
Medical equipment.
Medical equipment. Nice. My brother does that. What type of medical equipment do you sell? Do you like go to the hospitals or?
Yeah.
Okay. Surgical equipment?
Uh-huh.
Nice. I bet that's a pretty nice gig to have, isn't it?
It's not bad.
I hear you, man. I hear you. So look, man, you're out there, you're in the hospitals, you're selling the surgical equipment, you're watching the surgeons do their operations. You don't want to have to worry about your house getting sold, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay. So that's where we come in, okay? And so what we do is we come in and we don't pay top dollar, okay?
Okay.
And the reason behind that, RJ, is obviously if we bought a property top dollar, we're not going to make any money, okay?
Right.
But then on the flip side of things, we want to make sure that you have money for what you need, okay? So the only time we do deals is if it's a win-win situation,
Okay.
okay? So let me ask you this. How long have you had a hold of the property since the probate court gave you access to it?
Well, it's probably been a couple months.
Okay, got it. And there's the house is in a pretty good neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me what the roof looks like.
Well, that's another good question. I would say that the last major hailstorm we had here was probably 2009. So I think it was replaced then.
Okay. So it was replaced in 2009?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good to know. And now the paints and the flooring on the inside, are those still 90s style or were those ever replaced?
Yeah, they probably haven't been. I mean, that house probably hasn't been painted in 15 years or so. So, it may need a paint job on the inside. And I hadn't thought about that.
Okay, got it, got it. And is there any cracking that you've seen on the walls, RJ?
No, I think, structurally it's in pretty good shape.
Okay, great. And plumbing, electric, what's the story on that?
Well, I think it's all good. I mean, I think it's copper plumbing. And I'm almost positive it's copper plumbing, but you asked me about the electric. I guess, I don't know about that.
Okay, got it. And give me 1 second, we're gonna mute. Okay, I think we got a culprit. Great, RJ. So thank you for that. So let me ask you this, RJ. I'm looking at properties which sold in the area, and I am saying that the properties that were selling for 160 to 180, they were updated and they're like fully renovated. I mean, they have granite from wall to wall, and they have like all the nice new updates and all of that.
Okay.
Is 160 your best offer, or I mean, what can we do to come in and make this a fair cash offer where you don't have to deal with any drama at your sales job, and you're a happy man, and most importantly, your wife, you're married, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And your wife's a happy woman. What are we going to do to get you a fair cash offer?
Well, you said that you looked at some of the other photos and it looks like they all have granite and stuff. And I'll tell you up front, this house does not have granite. So that would be something that I guess if you wanted to, if I wanted to get into the 160, 180 phase, I'd have to do. So I don't know. I mean, you're making me think about some things on the house that don't make it tip top shape. So I don't know. I guess just throw me a number.
Yeah.
I'm ready to sell.
Got it. So basically, if we came in, RJ, because what happens is, and you discover this, if you ever talk to the realtors, when you come in and you get realtors in your property, man, they come in and you'll get charged a 6% realtor commission fee. Your property is under contract with them or listing agreement with them for 6 months, typically. Usually what happens, and I've seen this thousands of times before, RJ, is the buyer will come in with all types of concessions that they want you to make. Okay. They'll say, okay, yeah, we'll give you this offer, but we want you to do X, Y, and Z. Okay. We want you to place granite on the countertops and all types of other crazy stuff. Okay. Not saying anything bad about realtors, but just setting your expectations,
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point. My neighbor across the street just sold her house, and her husband had passed away, and I think she was telling me that just to fix the things that needed to be fixed and certified, etc., it cost her about $8,000.
Okay, it cost her about $8,000.
$8,000, yeah. That wasn't including the realtor and all that. That was just money she had to spend.
Yeah, and I mean
sell the house.
Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, you don't want to really have to dig for $8,000 or $10,000 out of your pocket, do you?
No, not at all.
And then on top of that, you have to deal with the time and the stress and the drama. I mean, because obviously, again, you've just lost your dad, okay, and you don't want to have to deal with a bunch of drama on top of that, okay. I know I felt that way when I lost my mother, okay, and I can only imagine what you're going through. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we came in, RJ, and we paid off the mortgage, okay? You said that the mortgage is about $30,000.
Yes.
Okay. If we came in, paid off the mortgage, and then gave you, let's say, $50K in your pocket cash money. We don't put you through any drama, no commissions, no anything.
How quick can you do that? Well, how quick can you do it?
Man, as long as the title comes back clean, we can get that done within 2 to 3 weeks at the longest.
Okay. I would entertain something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the way that would look like, RJ, and you're sure that you owe about $30K on the mortgage. Is that correct?
Yeah, $30K.
Okay. So basically what we would do, RJ.
We're making that mortgage payment now.
Oh, you're making the mortgage payments.
Yeah.
How much are you paying each month for that mortgage payment, RJ?
About $1,120.
Oh, that's not too bad. I mean,
That's the pity.
I mean, you got an extra $1,120 each month lying around, don't you?
Come on, really? Yes. Yeah, I can. I mean, I can cover it, but it's not necessarily what I want to do with that money.
Definitely. Because I mean, how many kids do you have, RJ?
3.
3. Okay. So I imagine between a wife and 3 kids, $1,120 can be spent somewhere more lucrative, right? Right. So look, let's do this, man. We'll write up the contract for $80K. Okay. And what that will do is it will cover your mortgage. Okay. And it'll also place $50,000 in your hand. Okay. I'm not going to come in and ask you for concessions. I'm not going to come in and ask you to paint the walls. I'm not going to come in with commissions. I'm not going to do a bunch of stuff that's going to tick you off. Okay. I want you to be up there selling surgical equipment to these surgeons and making a bunch of money, RJ. That's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Okay. So are we going to meet up tomorrow or Saturday? What's looking good for you?
Saturday.
Okay, great. Morning or afternoon time?
Afternoon.
All right. 2 or 3 o'clock?
I'd say let's go 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Okay, got it. So what I'll do, RJ, is what we do with our clients whenever we take a property in, man, is we come in and we have a simple agreement that we sign with the homeowner. And I'm going to keep a copy, and then you're going to keep a copy for your records, okay? And in order to make the contract valid, we need to put down at least $1 of earnest money deposit. And so we always give out $10, okay? And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to need for you to get me a spare copy of the key, okay? Because what I'm going to do is I have a vast array of funding partners that I have to show the property, and they're the ones who are actually going to fund the purchase and the rehab of the property, okay? And so can you do that for me before we meet up on Saturday at 2 p.m., RJ?
Yeah, I can get that done.
Okay, great. And let me ask you this, RJ. Is her name on the title as well, or is it just your name since you inherited it?
That's a great question. But if we find out, I guess from, you said that if title work comes back clean, I guess the title work would show that, right?
It would. Okay. But let's go ahead, just so that we don't have to bother the missus. And again, you're going to learn this about me, RJ. I don't like to bother people. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring her out to the house as well. And then we'll have her sign on there also. Okay. And the property is your name. Like you don't have any other siblings or anybody like that whose name may be on the title?
No, I'm only child.
Okay, great. So, all right. So we will meet at your house at 2 p.m. this Saturday, and then I'll bring both agreements, and we will get you earnest money deposit. You bring me a spare copy of the key, and let's get that house sold, man, and get $50,000 in your pocket as soon as possible. Sound good?
That sounds good.
All right, great. You have a great evening, RJ.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Nice.
What do you guys think?
I missed most of it.
Who said they missed most of it?
Me, because of I had connection problems, but I went and fixed my router. I had to restart my router.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but I'm back.
You're back. Okay.
No, I thought it was good. One thing that I, just kind of doing some rough math on my paper, you got a 160K house. And as you pointed out from looking at the from looking at the, ranges being 160 to 180, if it needs updating, which we kind of determined that, we ascertained and agreed that it did need a little bit of updating, painting. I would do the exact same thing you did. I do a virtual walk through the house. If somebody comes at me and says the house doesn't have any repairs, I'm like, perfect. So when I pull up from the outside, when we go look at your house, roof's in great shape, right? It's like a couple years old. Well, no, it's probably, and then, you start uncovering that stuff. Okay, that's fine. We can deal with the roof. Then you start asking, if they really don't know, you can ask them really difficult questions. Cause I've been burned on this before, in the city of Wichita, everything's gotta be, roof's gotta be redecked. If you rip off shingles and just got the, boards that have over a 1/4 inch space, you gotta plywood the deck, we gotta redeck it. So you start throwing out a few things like that, and they'll be like, I don't know. I've never climbed in the attic or looked. Like, okay. Wow. But anyway, then you could I just do a virtual walk through the house. So we walk into the living room. Paint living room's in great shape. It's fresh, because again, when I looked at stuff online, things that are selling in the 160 to 180 you referenced, everything's got new paint. Looks like, everything's been updated. Be like, well, I think my parents probably painted it 15 years ago, just kind of that type of scenario. So I just kind of walking through and eventually get through the bathroom, etc. This is the bathroom updated and modern. I would do exactly the way you did it. That's why I do it too. But just doing some rough math, if they have 160K and then, just realtor's fee and then just concessions, because every buyer, at least in this market, in my market here, everybody asks for some seller concession. Will you pay my closing costs or whatever? It's always 10%. I don't care how any house I've ever flipped or done anything with, they always ask for, basically it cost me 10% to sell the house with my closing costs that I got to pay and any concession they're asking me to make. So you take that right off the top, that's 16 grand. That'll put us down to 144,000, and I haven't even asked for any repairs. So if we can get them to agree that there's repairs that are needed, by just, like I say, doing that virtual walkthrough, it makes it so much easier.
Oh yeah. and one thing I'll kick myself on, RJ, is you agreed a little bit too fast to the $50,000 on top of your 30K.
Well, that sounds pretty good. The 50K that you walk away with 50K sounds all right. But in my mind, so I don't know. I figured that I had actually written down on my piece of paper here, 50K.
Oh, that's what you wanted? Was 50K?
As I had, as you were walking through it, if you paid off my mortgage and offered me 50K, I was pretty much ready to take that deal. That's what you offered me. Sorry.
I shot myself with a foot. You beat me, RJ. You son of a gun, you beat me. I was supposed to get you below what you wanted.
I'll take your 50K.
So you guys, what I try to do, you guys, is whenever somebody has a mortgage payment, right, or mortgage balance, I will typically try and lead in and say, hey, well, would you take what you owe on the house for? Will you take what you owe on the house for it? Okay. And you let them work from there. And, typically they're going to say, no, no problem. How close can you get to it? What do you want? Okay. And so in this instance, I felt a little bit connected to him because he just lost his parents. So like I said, hey, 50K, right? Because at the end of the day, if you get a property for around 50% of ARV or slightly lower, typically it's going to be a good deal. Okay. Especially considering his house is going to need a light rehab. Okay. But what I probably should have said is I should have come in saying, okay, well, if we come in and we pay off the mortgage and we put $10K in your pocket or $15K in your pocket, how would you like that? And let him decide. And then from that point, I can let RJ say, hell no, Daniel, I'm not going to take 10 to 15K. To which my response will be, well, how close, RJ, can you get to that number? To which he would say, well, maybe, you know, because like
50K.
You may have come down from there, though. You may have said 50K, right? You would have said 50K, right? And you know what I would have said?
I would have said 50K. Yep.
Right,
I would have said,
so
you pay off the mortgage and I walk with 50K and we have a deal.
all right. So you know what I would have said? I would have said, 50K, RJ. I would have been like, you know what? I'd love to give you that much for your property, man. But if we do that, we may get upside down in the flip and then we'll end up on the street. I'll end up on the streets. My wife will kick me out. That's why I'm on the streets. You don't want that to happen to me, do you, RJ? Oh, you don't. What if we meet somewhere in the middle? Okay, RJ, you're wanting 50K and I was going to give you 10K. How about if we just give you 30K cash money in your pocket, no BS, you walk, you get to spend the rest of your time with your 3 kids and your beautiful wife, you know, not worrying about this house.
Yeah. That would have been a place to start.
RJ's like, I would have said yes.
We would have started there.
All right, we would have started there. Okay. I think I would have been able to get you around 35 to 40K, man. I can see it in your eyes.
Well, you know, it's tough to role play it because we both know the answer we're looking for. But you know, you're your own worst critic when you know what you're doing. And I think that's the thing you got to realize is that when you're calling back these leads, they don't know. They don't really know what they're sitting on. They really don't have. They're very impressionable in their thought process. And if we're getting them before a realtor gets there, which I admitted we haven't met with a realtor yet, so a realtor hasn't puffed up or blown smoke up my skirt, for lack of a better word, you know, about some fictitious amount that we could get for our house, you know, and it sits on the market for 6 months or 8 months, and I gotta, you know, I don't have to go to showings, but you know, I'll get frustrated over the time of the house just sitting there. I got to keep the, you know, we're rolling into winter here. And so you got holding costs. I got to keep the gas on, the electric on, you know, I need to definitely keep water in the line so they don't freeze up, etc. But you got to keep the heat on. And I probably need to go over there every couple of days and make sure that, you know, nothing's froze up, that the furnace is actually working. Something that, you know, maybe the seller hasn't thought about, that just at the end of the day, there's a kind of pain in a rump factor that I want them to realize that just selling it to me quick is probably maybe the better thing to do, because they won't have any holding costs or anything, because it all costs money. I mean, if it costs $100 a month to run the furnace, you know, even low, because we'll get a cold winter here, you know, 7 months, 8 months down the road, that's another $800. Just call it $1,000, you know, that they may have not thought about. So anyway,
yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
And you guys, RJ brings up a good point, you guys, and make sure you guys take note of this. It's all about a person doesn't want to hear about your heaven until they hear about what hell they may be in. Okay. And so this is going to be the gospel of the house flipping dojo, the good news of the house flipping dojo. All right. Before you can present heaven and the pearly gates and the streets of gold and the mansions, you got to let them know that there's a lake of fire, there's a hell, and they may be going there. Okay. You may be getting your butt thrown in the lake of fire. Nobody wants to go swimming in the lake of fire, right?
No.
Everybody said right. Even if you're not religious or Christian or whatever, you don't want to get thrown in a lake of fire, okay? And so what RJ did was he presented hell to them, okay? you may, the wintertime is coming up here. You're going to have to pay for, your heating costs. You're going to have to do this and that. You're going to have to check in every couple of days. You're going to have to make sure that the water is on and that the water is flowing through the pipes and that the water is dripping, because if you don't let the water drip and it freezes, your water pipes could freeze and burst and flood your entire basement and like cause irreparable damage to your property. Okay. I would have said a story about what happened to my dad in Omaha, Nebraska. Okay. A couple years ago during that polar vortex or whatever it was called, I don't know, because I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it was like 60, 70 degrees while it was like freezing cold in you guys' neck of the woods. But it got to be, I think, negative 30 below zero or something in Omaha, right? And his he was in West Africa. He was in Ghana during the time period, right? And he kept the heat on, like, I think 50 degrees or something, like really, really cold. Okay. And the pipes froze and it burst and it flooded his whole entire basement. Okay. And the insurance company, man, they did not want to pay for it. Okay. And there was
vacant.
About, I believe, $70,000 worth of damage done to the property. All right. That's hell.
And that's because the house was vacant.
And his house
because the house was vacant. That's why. Because, and I you bring up a good point. A lot of times we'll talk about how, do you have intentions to get vacancy insurance on your property? Because nobody's living there, right? And they always say, "What do you mean?" Like, because vacancy insurance, a lot of people don't realize that if you move out of your house and you leave it vacant, your coverage it's buried deep into your policy. That, within like 30 days or 60 days, that your coverage will drop to like 50-60% of coverage because it's vacant. And you have a flood like that, it's catastrophic because you don't know the basement is filling with water until it's flowing out the windows. And it's a total loss. So anyway, I would bring that up as well to set the table of the pain of just continuing to maintain a vacant property.
Yeah, and you guys, and most policies is 30 days. It's 30 days. Okay, if they're out of the house more than 30 days, they're screwed. Okay, and they don't know about that. Okay, and people don't want to have to deal with a bunch of drama. They just want to sell their house and get done with it. Okay, so somebody owes a mortgage on it. Always ask them, will you take what you owe on the house for it? Okay, and if they say no, no problem, Daniel. No problem, Manny. How close can you get to that? Okay. If somebody asks you to make a first offer, because you always want to get your homeowner to name the price first. If they are really, really harping on you to name the price first. Okay. And what's up, Robert? Jaylee, how y'all doing?
How you doing?
And if they're really, really harping on you guys to name the price first, then you give them this lowball price where they want to slap you and your mama. That's how offended they are at your offer, okay? And when they are astounded by the crazy price or cash offer that you've offered them on their property, you ask them, okay, no problem. Robert, how close can you get to that number? And at that point, they have to give you a number, okay? And another thing that I'll say, you guys, is don't get into a big, huge conversations or discussions or negotiations with people that are unmotivated, okay? Or people that have very, very unrealistic beliefs, all right? So if somebody comes in and the ARV on their property is about 160, like Robert was saying, like RJ was saying, okay? And if they come in saying, yeah, I want $200,000 for the property, not a penny less. And they're like, that? Okay, I hear you. Well, definitely, I would love to give you $200K for the property, but, unfortunately, there's several properties that are in your neighborhood right now that are selling for, I'm seeing this one at 123 Main Street is selling. It's sold for 120. I got this property about 3 blocks away from you. It's currently on the market for $95K. I would definitely love to buy your property, but I I have to go with the best deal. Have you considered selling it through a realtor or doing a for sale by owner? I mean, if you go through a realtor, I mean, yeah, they'll lock you up for 6 months and under contract, and you have to pay a 6% commission fee, and you may have to pay some concessions, but that may be your best bets. Have you ever considered a realtor? And you just throw that out to them, okay? You guys see what I did?
Mm-hmm.
I gave them different scenarios, which may not be very positive for them, okay? And I'm making them think, all right? Because you don't want to get caught chasing, okay? In this game, in negotiations, you can either chase or be chased, okay? The person, when you chase somebody, okay? So, Robert, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot, my man, because you ain't said nothing today. So if you're at the mall with your beautiful wife and somebody is running at you full speed, you know, just like waving their hands like a crazy man, okay? What are you going to do?
Like, they're just running at me, like trying to hurt me or something?
Yeah, you're just like running at you, trying to, you know, do something, and you see some object in his hand, right?
I'm running.
You're running.
Yeah,
That's your first, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a smart thing to do, okay? Is run, okay? Now, if a dog chases you, all right, you don't know what that dog is doing. You don't know if the dog wants to lick you or bite your left booty cheek off, okay? You don't know. It's a pit bull. You're gonna run. You're gonna be like, you know, like Usain Bolt, all right? Carl Lewis. You're gonna win yourself a gold medal, all right? The same is true with the people that you talk to on the phone. If you chase them, and you make yourself look thirsty, right? Their natural inclination is to say, okay, well, you know, get away from me. You know, they're gonna, you know, back off a little bit, all right? But then when you get them to chase you, they want you even more, okay? Seriously, they want you even more, okay? So get into that mode, okay? So if you're talking with people, right, and they seem a little bit unmotivated or they seem a little bit off track, let them know that, hey, you know, I would definitely love to purchase your house, but I mean, I still have 13 other people that I need to call who have called me to sell their property, and we can only buy 2 more houses in the next 60 days. All right. What you're doing is you're telling them that, hey, I'm wanted. People want me. Okay. I'm not the ugly girl at the dance. People want to dance with me. Okay. I'm not going to be sitting in my little flower dress and nobody's asking me to dance. Okay. People want to dance with me. Okay. And so you let them know stuff like that. Okay. You let them know, hey, have you checked with a realtor? You know, because maybe I'm not the best solution for you. Then they're like, what? They don't want my house? Then they're gonna like, and I promise you, you guys, people are gonna say, okay, well, I can do this price, or I can go down lower, or I can do this and that, because they want you. Because they're like, okay, well, why doesn't he want my house? Why doesn't Manny want my house? Okay, and they're going to actually try to fight to gain your acceptance to buy their property. All right. And that's what you want them to do. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are your thoughts, you guys?
I have a question.
Jaylee and Robert, who got a question?
Me, Daniel.
Daniel Diggity Turner, Diggity Dan.
That's correct.
All right, go ahead.
I just mentioned something about the 10%. I think when they rehab a house, I was asking, what did he mean by that? When they said when he sell a house, they always charge him 10%.
10%. Right? So by the time I pay 6% realtor fee, and then they ask for some seller concessions, or they ask me to cover their closing costs or something like that. Like I say, I'm trying to paint the picture that it's going to cost them some money to sell with a realtor, that it's not free, that it's always 10%. That's been my experience in our market. It might vary in your market, but it's guaranteed 6% to the realtor. But they typically always ask, like say, even on houses we have flipped, and we've sold to first-time home buyers or whatever the scenario it may be, they always ask me to cover part of their closing costs. Or they ask for, I mean, it's goofy. They ask for all sorts of goofy things. Sometimes we say yes, and sometimes we say, go pound sand.
What was that last thing you said?
I said, go pound sand. Take a hike. So yeah, no, that's what I mean. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, dude. And also another question. I would ask, can I give you an example of how you can break down a deal? I mean, not a deal, but break down like a cost, like from top to bottom, from like from ARV down to So in case the seller asks like, what's coming out? Why not being old? This like, y'all give an example of how to break down from ARV, what's taken off from royalty fees to closing costs to say we have costs all down to the MAO. I'm saying if that's possible.
Are you saying how do you break down the costs in percentage wise to find what your maximum acceptable offer is?
Yeah. That's correct.
Okay, so there's many different ways to do it, and I know that you have a way that you learned through Shrek, which is an awesome way. To keep it simple, you guys try and keep it as simple as possible, okay? In most markets, if you can get it at 65 to 70% of ARV minus estimated repairs minus your assignment fee, you're good.
Okay. That's the equation we follow too.
What's that?
That's exactly what we do.
Okay.
65 to 68%. Now we do have some people on the buyer side when we wholesale a deal that'll pay up to 70 to 72%.
Okay.
As long as they can acquire, or as long as they're gonna make, every once in a while we'll get somebody who's like, hey, if I can make 20 grand on a deal, I'll do it. But that's kind of a unique thing. But generally it's 65% minus repairs. And then obviously minus our assignment fee if we're going to assign it to somebody.
Got it. And so, and in your case, RJ, if he was to actually fix and flip the deal, he would only need to get it at 65% of ARV minus estimated repairs. Well, let me ask you this: when you're doing a fix and flip, do you work in an assignment fee for yourself in the fix and flip, or no?
I do, yes.
You do? Okay, good.
Yeah, we have a minimum $5,000.
My man.
And
all right.
Now, because I have an acquisitions manager who I split that with 50-50. So
is your acquisitions manager a realtor?
No. He does 100% of the work. And I own 100% of the leads.
Got it.
So I get first right of refusal.
I love how you said that with a laugh, RJ.
I do. He does 100% of the work. It's good. So I have no problem paying him $2,500 because he gets half the assignment fee for every deal that he can do. Now I get to go look first and decide if it's something I want. So he's calling leads every day. But like I say, they're my leads. I pay for 100% of the marketing.
Okay, and see that's where it does make it make sense, you guys, because if somebody's going to come in and they're going to make, let's say, $2,500 flat rate, his acquisitions manager is not paying any expense whatsoever, but it's RJ who is the one that is paying for $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month in mailer fees. Okay,
right.
And so whenever somebody is fronting up the money, the investment, then the other side should naturally do most of the work. Or in RJ's case, 100% of the work. I love it. I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
It really is. All you do is the marketing and do the postcards and letters and get the leads and mail it off. That's beautiful, man. So
yeah.
Now in some areas of the country, you guys, and you have to interview your buyers and find out what they're comfortable with, because not all buyers are going to be the same. Okay, some buyers are going to want properties with less repairs on it, and some people are going to want their properties to be at a certain price range. Some people want their properties to be in blue collar neighborhood or well-to-do neighborhood, and they want to stay away from low-income areas. Different strokes for different folks. Okay. When it comes to the percentage of ARV, you definitely have to interview your buyers to find out what's more acceptable. So if you're in places like Vegas or California, some parts of Florida, Washington, where it's really, really on fire for sellers and they're like crushing it, then you're going to need to go a little bit higher. Okay. So you may need to go 75%. In some cases, you can even get as high as 78 to 80% in some certain cases. Okay. Of the ARV. Now, if you're in more distressed areas, like around the Great Lake area, around places like Detroit, 65%, that's probably going to be too high. Okay. Even Indianapolis, you're going to have to go lower. Okay. You may have to go 60% or 55%. Okay. But you just have to interview your cash buyers to find out what they want. All right. So that being said, I was hoping that we'd have enough time for two mock seller calls. I definitely do want to get a live call going probably the next time we get on, you guys, and just do some random cold calls to some for sale by owners. Would that be fun, you guys?
Oh yeah,
Be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Manuel do the cold calling, and we're gonna listen to him.
I'll go for it.
Man, see, I like you, man. I like you. You're down for whatever, man. I love it. I love it. So,
yeah, no, I was saying, well,
you threw in a butt. You threw in a butt, Manny.
What was that?
You threw in a butt.
Oh no, I'm not saying a butt. I'm saying I'm gonna go for it because I'm not going to just stand on the sideline and watch all of you make money. I gotta make a deal. You know.
My man, give me a fist bump. Fist bump your camera.
Ooh.
Fist bump. Bam. My man. My man. All right. So you guys, this call has been recorded. So thank you to the other two Daniels who made this D3 happen today. There's 3 Daniels on the call. First time that ever happened. That's pretty sweet. Thank you everybody else who is a non-Daniel for coming on board. If there's any questions, you guys, make sure you post them in the Academy. If you guys are watching this on YouTube and you're like, hey, I got to get in on this training, go to houseflippingdojo.com, houseflippingdojo.com, apply for mentorship, apply to get mounds and mounds of $100 bills just like Manny. Manny, I'm gonna see. They couldn't say they couldn't see it because you're not talking. Say something.
Oh, hey, yeah, this is what I'm looking at. This is fake now, but it will be real.
It's fake now, but it's gonna be real. He's gonna have 10,000 of those $100 bills.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you guys, peace. God bless. See y'all later. Oh, is there any questions?
Nope, we're good.
We're good.
Good.
All right, you guys. Daniel had a question. He said, should have made a body pillow of the $100.
Oh, for Halloween,
Daniel,
it'll be $100 bill. Huh?
And she said, make a body pillow, man. Make blankets.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, Daniel also said this is the reason why he deals with REOs. He deals with bank-owned properties. He said banks know what the hell they are in. So that's definitely one way to do it, you guys. There's so many ways you can wholesale deals. So many ways you can get different leads. You guys, it's more of a thing of, pick what you're good at and what you feel comfortable with. So anyways, see you guys.
See you later.
Thanks, Daniel.